Is baby oil and lubricant a federal crime? No. That is a direct quote from Diddy's defense opening statement today. I'm an attorney and I read what happened, so you don't have to. It's Monday, May 12th, and opening statements are underway in the Diddy trial. Diddy's defense attorney has stated, Sean Combs is a complicated man, but this isn't a complicated case. She stated that the charges, which include racketeering and trafficking, are based on relationships driven by love, jealousy, infidelity, and money. According to the defense's opening statements, these were voluntary choices made by consenting adults. The defense plans to show text messages from Diddy's employees, claiming that most had positive relationships with him, and that they will testify that there was no criminal enterprise. Diddy's attorney argues that while violence did occur, it is not related to the specific charges that Diddy is being charged with. She emphasized, DV is not trafficking, and made sure to repeat that to the jury. Diddy's attorney continued that Diddy can be mean and has a temper, and that he could get out of control while drinking. However, that this alone could not make him guilty of the crimes he is being charged with. Opening statements are still continuing.
What jurors heard today were tales of appalling physical abuse.
Yes, this is my first video about this whole situation of Diddy. The trial started, and I have watched a lot of videos and people talking about the opening statement and how his daughter walked out. I have a series of videos I'm going to show you. I've seen different reactions, different informations coming out. It is important I start showing you some of these videos. Someone said this to me the other day, like I should cover this topic. I didn't want, but I see it important. We should be looking into what is going on every single day. When you take a look at this, celebrities call for total Hollywood strike to punish America until Diddy is set free. This was posted on X. I will read out the full details of this as we proceed.
The jury just heard from the first witness, and it looks like we found out who took a video of that surveillance footage. His name is Israel Flores, and he was the security guard at the Intercontinental Hotel in March of 2016 when the incident took place. Israel says on March 5th, around 11 a.m., instant services called him about a woman in distress on the 6th floor. He went to go look at the live footage. He said he saw a man pacing back and forth in the hotel hallway. He said when he got off the 6th floor, he saw Diddy sitting in a chair in his robe and socks, and he was acting strangely and giving him a devilish stare. As for Cassie, he said she was cowering in a corner, covering her face, and he told them, if you guys are going to argue, you have to go back to your room. At this point, the video footage that we had all seen had already happened, but Israel Flores hadn't seen it yet. Prosecutors then showed the surveillance video to the jury, and afterwards, Israel said that he had recorded it on his cell phone to show his wife, because otherwise she probably wouldn't believe him. A second video was then shown to the jury, which none of us have seen, and it shows Israel Flores trying to calm Diddy down while he was yelling at Cassie in the hallway. Apparently in the video, you can then see Cassie returning to the entryway of the hotel room saying she wanted her phone and her belongings. He testified that he was escorting them back to the room and they were arguing about whether or not she was going to leave, and Diddy was telling her that she was not going to leave. He says once they reached the room, both Cassie and Diddy went inside of the room and he used his body to prop open the door. He also testified that there was another man in the room, but the man was not engaging with any of them. Girl said he told Diddy to then stay in his room, and that's when Diddy allegedly showed him a stack of money and told him not to tell anyone what he saw. He says he told Diddy he didn't want his money, and then he went after Cassie to see if she was okay. He tried to approach Cassie outside of the hotel to see if she wanted him to call the police, but a bodyguard blocked the interaction. He was able to ask her if she wanted him to call the cops, but she said she just wanted to leave, and he testified that she had a black eye. After she left, he went back to Diddy's hotel room with another guard to reiterate the hotel policy. He said that Diddy stepped into the hallway and closed the door behind him and then grabbed the other bodyguard, accusing him of recording Diddy. That's when Israel said he pinned Diddy to the wall and told him to let go of the phone. After all of this happened, Israel did file an incident report and mentioned Diddy and Cassie by name. He described the incident from start to finish and even included photos of the broken vase and the dirt on the wall. Now, in the report, he didn't mention the other man that was in the room, but he says it was because that man was not engaging with Diddy or Cassie, nor was he involved in the elevator lobby incident, so he felt like it wasn't relevant in the report. That was everything that happened with the prosecutor. It's now the defense's turn, so I will be back with updates.
Yes, this whole situation is complex, and I really want to see the end result of this whole case. When you look at this whole situation, I see like a lot of politicians and these top celebrities will be shamed at the end of the day. I watched a video the other day. Someone said the list is out. I don't know how true that was. There are some names I saw in that list that will shock you, especially politicians. Though someone told me he's not shocked about this whole thing because they already know. Looking at this video, she talked about a footage. I believe you understand, you know exactly what she's talking about. The footage went viral when CNN aired it few months ago.
What jurors heard today were tales of appalling physical by Sean Combs as prosecutors portrayed him as a monster who controlled people and plied them with threats, money, brandishing during these on-camera performances that he liked to call freak-offs. And in fact, jurors were shown for the first time today that horrifying videotape, beating, kicking, and dragging his then-girlfriend. And then a male escort took the witness stand, and he talked about how he saw firsthand that same young woman repeatedly battered by the defendant, who then tried to bribe a hotel security guard with a stack of cash to get rid of the evidence. In opening statements, what struck me was how the defense attorney openly admitted that her client committed domestic, but then tried to argue, well, that's not seen for which he's charged. Technically, yes, but it is an underlying crime in the racketeering case against him, which includes robbery, obstruction, all part of this alleged criminal enterprise run by Sean Combs. His attorney also admitted to the jury that her client's conduct is, quote unquote, indefensible, and that he may be a sexual deviant, but that doesn't make him a criminal, which strikes me as not a terribly great defense. Also claiming that the disgusting tapes actually prove it was all consensual, and then urging the jury, don't be the moral police here. And finally, Combs' lawyers are going to be arguing, and they said this to the jury, that the alleged female victims, and there are a lot of them, are all motivated to lie out of greed because they filed lawsuits against Combs for money damages. Well, that is a typical defense tactic, but it is dangerous, it is perilous. Jurors might perceive it as the lawyers re-victimizing the victims. Katie?
Yes, my work here is just to report informations from reliable sources so you can understand exactly what is going on. I'm in no positions like a lawyer to really give opinions on this case. So what I would do throughout is to report the news so you can understand what is happening inside that court.
During day one of Sean Combs' criminal trial, we heard some celebrity names come up. They were listed on a people and places list that was given to prospective jurors as names that might come up. Actors Michael B. Jordan, Mike Myers, two members of the girl group Danity Kane, that's Aubrey O'Day and Dawn Richard. You also heard the name of musician Kanye West and one of Combs' sons, Christian Combs, as well as his former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, who filed that explosive civil suit against him in 2023, which really set off this entire chain of events in the federal investigation. Now, we don't know why these names have been mentioned. They haven't been accused of any wrongdoing, and I guess we're just going to have to see how it all plays out during the trial.
Just let you pause and read. There's the second section right there. Just let you pause and read. Of course, there's the third section of that page. You should pause and read that, of course. And, of course, all the usual suspects on there. Basically everybody you know and love, if you want to call it that. Here's page 2. There we go. Chris Rock all the way down to Chrissy Teigen.
I went through the comment section of this video to see how people are reacting. Some says all these people will go free. Nothing will happen to them because they are that powerful.
Once the apex of high fashion culture and A-list celebrity, the gala now looks more like a sad sack D-list, past its prime wannabe version of its old self. It's closer to today's nerd prom White House Correspondents' Dinner than the center of the celeb and beauty universe as it used to be. This year's theme was superfine, tailoring black style, an homage to black dandyism. What's that, you ask? No one has any idea. Prepare yourself, however, for a deep dive into leftist, academic, gobbledygook, nonsensical talk, which is probably how it got chosen as the Met Gala theme. That and their desire to pander to black people. The Met says black dandyism came from the intersection of African and European style traditions, of course. What does that mean? I have no idea. But it seems to be based on a 2009 book written by a woman named Monica Miller called Slaves to Fashion, Black Dandyism and the Styling of Black Diasporic Identity. Okay, so far we have dandyism, intersection, and diasporic identity. So we're betting 1,000 on the scale of leftist code language that will make liberals sound smarter and feel superior. Speaking of totally out-of-touch leftists posing awkwardly for the camera, did you see the spread? Oh my God, it's unbelievable.
Designer Tom Brown, he tailored for me last night, and it was amazing.
Yes, this is what Megyn Kelly had to pass to these crazy Hollywood celebrities. Thank you guys for always been there sharing out my videos. I decided to bring this so you can see what happened a few hours ago. If you see any video after this, that is just for the YT algorithm.
Over the past week has been overwhelming.
To end. Right is right and wrong is wrong.
These kids in here and resolve this issue is called conflict resolution.
Again, the evidence is still coming in.
This is definitely a self-defense case because it always is one until you look at the facts of the case and compare the two. You have to compare who was the initial aggressor.
Bedroom, because she's fearful of what might happen to her.
Followers for anything, and then the
Registration Act is
talking about this man kill.
My summary of the first 100 days is that
if film and TV productions continue to
first term, and you will be very.
Somebody has to say it, so let me be crystal clear.
Once again, the field was littered with Kardashians.
So this happened